Right, okay, but good morning to all of you. So, hope you all can hear me because previously you all have confirmed. So, in that case, I assume you all can hear me properly. Meantime, today, if you feel that I'm like not audible to you all or if you all cannot hear me properly, just inform me, right? Because today I cannot take feedback. So in that case, if you cannot hear anything properly, if there are like interruptions or the disruptions, just inform me, at least drop a message to chat box. Then I will take necessary actions to make the delivery smooth, right? Okay. So for 18A, B, students were there. I guess you all know me, but if we consider 18A, B, then 18C exemption as well as 19B exemption. So this is the very first time that you all are meeting me, right? So in that case, I will give a small introduction about myself, very brief one, because there can be students still you all don't know about this. In that case, I will provide a short introduction about myself, but I'm not going to ask about yourself today. It's not practical, right? So I can ask, but at the end of the day, there's no any result of asking your name and other things, right? At least if you are in a physical platform, then at least I can remember your names and places of working and so on. So in that case, I'm avoiding asking yourself. So I just give a brief introduction about myself, right? So in the course outline, you all can find my name is Ishara Ramasinghe, and I'm a graduate of Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce of University of Srilanka. And I have completed my master's from University of Colombo. And currently I'm reading for my Master of Philosophy again from my University of Srilanka. And I have few professional qualifications and I have worked for the corporate sector. Then only I have decided to join with the academic sector as a full-time lecturer, right? So yes, it's a very brief introduction about myself. Basically, keep my name in your mind. I guess that is sufficient, right? Okay, so with that today, I will take you all to the course outline, right? This module name is Skills in Leadership and Innovation. Basically, we have to cover two areas today, right? First area is leadership side, right? And the other area is innovation. But if we consider the content, we allocate more percentage for the leadership. And then there are like a few areas to be discussed under the innovation area also, right? Okay, let me first share the course outline. If you go through the LMS page today, you can find that I have uploaded a course outline and the assessment portfolio. Even I have uploaded the two assignments also, right? So I have given you the deadline also. We'll discuss them one by one, right? So yes, basically the basic information related to the module you can find from the LMS, right? So let me open the course outline first. Okay. Okay with it. So hope you can see the slides. I mean the screen also. Just confirm with it because I have not logged through my laptop. Usually I'm logging, but today I cannot log into the meeting through my personal. This is my laptop. So there's an issue with it. It's requesting a passport. So in that case, today I'm not logged through my laptop. So I cannot check whether you all can see the screen or not. In that case, can anyone confirm whether this slide or the screen is visible to you?
Yes, madam, it's visible.
Right, okay, great with it. Thank you. So here, you can see with it, if we consider these modules, skills in leadership and innovation, This is a 2-credit assigned module. It's not a 3-credit assigned module. As you know, there's a like effect or an impact from this credit value towards the GPA calculation. Other than that, today, if we consider the examination paper, you all will get 2 hours and 30 minutes, right? Not a 3 hours paper. Since this is a 2-credit assigned module, for the examination, you all will get 2 hours and 30 minutes for the paper, right? So then, as well as with the, if you like go through the content, you can see it's not a content-wise very heavy module for it, right? So basically, there are only 6 chapters to be covered, and within 10 weeks, but I'm covering all these chapters, plus even like I'm covering the presentations also, right? Within 10 weeks, we can cover the content and the group presentation, right? So, I'm not going to take these individual topics and I'm not going to in detail discuss the content, right? So basically, there are like 6 chapters. If we consider first 4 chapters, becoming assertive or forceful. And chapter number 2 is working without supervision. Within brackets, you can say taking initiative and being proactive. Then the 3rd chapter is performing under challenges. Leading, no handling, strategic changes. The 4th one, where we discuss about this change management. And the last 2 chapters, idea generation and creativity. Then the last chapter, creativity converted to tangibility. So if we consider the first 4 chapters, those 4 chapters are related to leadership, right? And the last 2 chapters are related to innovation. Okay. So then 30% of the module is average 10% of the module is into innovation side, and the other 70% is into leadership, right? So you can see for there one important thing that I want to emphasize here is in this module we are not going to discuss about leadership. I mean, like when it comes to leadership, with it, you know, like there are certain theories, right? Then, like basically, there are very common things that we usually discuss under leadership, but we avoid those things in this chapter. We will focus on some new areas. So I cannot say new; these are existing in the different settings. But the thing is, for them, here we don't focus only on leadership skills, leadership characteristics, leadership theories. No. We are discussing about some important aspects, right? Some important areas related to leadership, right? When we are working as managers or the leading characters or the leading positions in the organizations, right? Like how we can influence more, like if I like more explained, then I will like go into the definitions of leadership and all. Like basically, here we discuss about the important aspects related to leadership as well as the innovation. I will explain to them why those areas are related to leaders, right? Because those are not direct characteristics or the skills of leaders, right? Those are very important, strategically important areas for a leader. As a manager, if you want to perform in an organization today, you all have to have an understanding on these areas, right? If you are aware on these areas, then you can like appropriately apply those things into the relevant situations, and you can perform well with it, right? So we'll see. Basically, take it in mind. Here we don't discuss leadership skills, right? In the first chapter, right? I'm like giving you some. I'm explaining about leadership skills, then the leadership characteristics and all, because we cannot directly enter into the chapter. So in that case, I'm like clearing the background related to leadership through discussing these leadership skills, leadership characteristics, and the leadership theories. But after that, we don't like focus on these leadership skills, characteristics, and all. We just focus on the important areas, important aspects related to leadership, as well as the creativity and innovation. Okay, right. So it's about the content of the module. Basically, we we can complete the whole content within 10 weeks, right? So approximately 8 weeks, within 8 weeks, we can complete the content, but I'm allocating the remaining 2 weeks for the presentations, right? Okay. Then you can literally go through the varying outcomes of these chapters, right? I'm not going to discuss them with you. So here you can see the what you call assessment portfolio, right? So here it's 50-50. For the final result or the final grade for this, there will be a 50% contribution from the group assignments and the other 50% from the ESE, end semester examination. Sorry. So here, if we consider the 50% of the assignment for the assessment portfolio, 15% allocated for the individual assignment, like 15%. And 20% for the group report, and another 15% for the group presentation. This group report and the group presentation is are based on one assignment today. For this, you don't need to do 2 assignments, right? For the individual assignment, there's no need to put it's an individual assignment. You have to do an assignment. I have uploaded the guidelines and all. We'll discuss them next week, right? Then if we consider the group assessment or the group assignment, it consists 2 components. One is report and the other one is presentation, right? එහෙම නැත්නම් දෙකක් කරන්න ඕනේ කියන එක නෙමෙයි මීන් කරන්නේ group report එකක් වෙනම කරන්න ඕනේ group presentation එකක් වෙනම කරන්න ඕනේ කියන එක නෙමෙයි එකම group assignment එක ඇතුලේ you all have to prepare a report and you all have to do a presentation based on the findings of the assignment, right? That's it. So for the report, group report it's 20% and the group presentation is 15%. So then altogether it's 50%, right? So if you want to go for a good grade with it, right, A or an A plus, then focus on the assignments also with it. Because if you can gain higher marks for the assignments, then for the, it's somewhat convenient for you to achieve a good grade at the end, right? As well as with it, this is the very first day. To be honest with it, this module is not a difficult module. Believe me, right? This is not a difficult module. There are no any technical things, right? So we are discussing day-to-day things with it, right? So when it comes to the organizations, we can find all these things, right? These are not rocket sciences or like these are not technically complex things. No, very understandable as well as very I mean, like when it comes to the society, commonly we can find these things, right? So in that case, with it, please keep the motivation to achieve A or A plus for this module, right? If you can maintain proper notes, and if it's not a mandatory thing to maintain notes today, right? It's not a compulsory thing. It's not a mandatory thing, right? It's based on your willingness. But if you want to maintain some notes, right? Just maintain video because here and there for there, I'm telling like this area is important for the examination. And I'm like asking you to write down. So there can be some list of characteristics, list of skills, right? For example, then I'm asking you to write down. Imagine in the list there are like 10 points, right? I'm asking you to write down any 5 or 4 points out of that list, and I'm highlighting with it. So write down the 4 or 5 points which you feel easy to record. But what if some points are examination test right? So if you are maintaining a note with it, then you can keep those things in one place. right? That I'm asking you to maintain a knot, right? So if I feel I want to give a definition or explanation, then I'm asking you to write down, right? But it's also based on your willingness to it, right? Now you all are adults, so you all can decide, right? So in that case, it's not a mandatory compulsory thing to maintain. Imagine if when you are in physical lecture, right? If you do not have a notebook, it's not a problem for me with it, right? But please keep at least those things in your mind, right? එහෙම වෙන්නත් නම් හැමෝම ලියන්න ඕනේ නෑ පුතේ, right? සමහර දරුවෝ ටික අහපු ගමන් ඔළුවට යනවා, දන්නෝ මේක කොහොමද මැනේජ් කරගන්නේ කියන එක. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ තැනකදී you all can decide, right? It's based on your capacity, right? Okay, so yes, those are the basic things that I want to share with you today regarding the module, right? So let me see whether there's anything else to discuss with you regarding the course outline. No, right, okay. So I have included a summary of assessment portfolio also in the LMS with it. So that is for your information. And let me open today's chapter, right? Okay. Before moving on to today's chapter, right? If you want to clarify anything regarding the module, just ask from me. There's another message that I want to share with you all today regarding the mode of delivery of lectures, right? I know. So this week, yes, we are conducting lectures online. Then next week, you all have this Aurudu survey, and we don't have lectures next Sunday. So then again, we are meeting on, I guess, 10th, right? So if we consider September birthday after, I mean, on 4th of May onwards, birthday, like they're conducting physical lectures. So then, if we consider this third year semester 1, right? This is the only module that you all have on Sunday, right? I know it, right? For me, like, even I can like come physically because I have another lecture, anyhow I have to come with it, right? So, so why I'm telling this first, let me explain why I'm telling this. This is the only module that you all have on Sundays, right? I know you all are working and you all have tight schedules. So, but now, concentrate you all have only this Sunday, right? Elisa, like, I can give you an option, right? So, personally, I don't like to conduct lectures online. Because I cannot see whether you all understood the things or not, right? But with the situation, we need to adapt and we need to do our best, right? Best in the sense we have to manage the situation. So if we consider the situation, this is the most appropriate way of delivering lectures. That is totally understandable and just. But as a person, I don't like to deliver lectures online because then I don't know whether you all understood things or not, right? If you all are in the lecture room with it, from your facial expressions, I can understand, right? Whether you all got it or not, right? So that is there. But after considering all the things, I can give you one option. If we consider Sundays with it, since you all have skills in leadership and innovation module, only for Sunday with it, right? We consider schedule, that is the only subject. 1 week we can do physically. We have 4 weeks. 1 week we can do the lecture online and the next week we can do it physically, right? But I'm not allowing, like, if it is a physical lecture, then I'm not conducting online lectures today, not hybrid, right? It's only physical. Then the third week again online and the fourth week again physical. ඒ වගේ මම පොඩ්ඩක් flexible වෙන්න පුළුවන් පුතේ මොකද සමහරවිට මේ subject එකකට විතරක් travel කරන කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් දුරේ ඉඳන්. එතකොට පුතේ දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ cost එක right time එක I can understand right. So in that case from my end I have that I mean I can be flexible. So coordinators right, this is for the coordinators of 4 intakes for it, right? 18A weekday, 18A weekend, then 18C exemption, 19B exemption. This is for the coordinators and all the students for they just discuss, right? And then let me know. I'm fully okay to. That is my preference. I'm okay. Like I really like to do all the 8 lectures in the physical. Right? Yes, Nate, yes.
So, madam, so I did a weekend and the ECC exemptions have conduct both online and physical lectures because there are some overseas students, madam.
Alright, okay. Then anyhow, we have to like conduct the lecture through online. That means with the 18,
Yes,
is it only for 18C exemption? I guess so, right? 18A weekend, like I don't think
Yes.
that the students are joining through like online due to these overseas concern. So, right, okay, that's okay. I can understand. Yes, thank you for informing, right? So then anyhow we have to conduct the lecture online, right? So but imagine if it is a physical lecture for the 18C exemption, 19B, I don't know about the 19B exemption students, but there can be some students who are like joining online. So if they are in overseas, right? So then anyhow I'm like, then I have to go through in like hybrid mode. Okay, thank you for informing and accept it. But if we are conducting the lecture as a physical lecture, if you are not an overseas student, so then you all have to physically visit me, right? Hope I'm communicating to you. Then only you all are getting the attendance, right? So if it is a physical lecture for 18A weekday, 18A weekend students, as well as 19B exception, when you belong 80C exception, and if you all are not in overseas, then you all have to physically come with it. So then I'm like between the attendance only for the students who are attended physically. For the overseas students, with it, no doubt, you all will get the attendance, and I'm doing the lecture also through this hybrid mode. So that is there for there, right? So this is for the not for the overseas students, right? Thank you inform that for them because then anyhow I have to do lecture through online also. So this is for the others, right? Not for the overseas students. This is for the others. Just discuss with your colleagues and everyone who's it. If you feel it's difficult to travel all the Sundays only for this module, right? Then inform me with it, then we can arrange like that. 1 week physical, then the other week online. Again, the third week physical, last week online. Because over physical lecture, then I can discuss with you and I can see whether you all got the things that I have shared with you. And we can have discussions, right? So that is there, and especially when we are doing activities also, if you all are in the physical lecture, it's so insightful as well as we can share lots of things with it. We can open very fruitful discussions, right? So that is there. Please discuss with everyone, right? And coordinators, please inform me with it, the preferred mode of lecture delivery. It can be 2 options in it. So we can go all the lectures physical, right? For the non-overseas students. And the other option available is 1 week physical, 1 week online, 1 week physical, 1 week online. You all have to manage this only for 10 weeks with it. For the content, for the syllabus, we have to allocate only 8 weeks, and after 2 weeks, I'm allocating for the presentations with it. Right? just discuss with everyone and let me know for them. Couldn't know the coordinators' names for them. 18A weekday, yes, I am there. And then 18A weekday. Who is the coordinator of 18A weekend with the coordinators or the coordinator?
Madam, I am the coordinator and Rashmi is the girls coordinator.
Right, okay. 18A weekend, right?
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you. Then for the 18C exemption. Coordinator method.
Hello, good morning, madam. I'm
Good
the
morning,
female
dear.
coordinator.
Right, okay. So then you are here for the just how many students are like joining through online for the if we consider agency exemption? I mean, like how many of your friends are in overseas?
Around 6 students are online, overseas students, miss.
Right, okay, okay, great. Okay. So just discuss with everyone, right? Is this Dilini Pute?
Yeah, I'm Dilini Ariratna.
I will take it. Then what about 19B exception? Can I
Good morning,
find
madam.
good morning.
I'm the 19B exemption coordinator. There's
Your
two
name,
persons.
please, Akhil, right?
Yes,
Akhil.
Akhil.
Okay, yes.
Only two persons are there in our batch.
All right, okay. Still good. That means as a total, we have 8 students online, so there is no problem. I'm conducting the lecture through the online also. There's no any doubt, right? Totally understood. And if physically like just discuss with everyone and come up with a plan. So then just communicate it to me. If it is feasible and workable thing for them, definitely I can be flexible, right? Just discuss with everyone and let me know. Because I can understand there's only one module on Sunday, you all have to travel. So cost-wise, then the time-wise, right? There can be some concerns. We'll openly discuss everything and we'll have a good plan for the delivery, right? We'll see with it. Okay. Next week, just inform me your plan for the next week in the sense of next week again, then for it will be a physical lecture, right? I will not the third, 10th. So it's better when you are in physical lecture, we can discuss it with it. So then when you're coming to the next lecture, right? So come up with a plan, right? So then we will discuss it and come to a conclusion. We'll finalize it, right? Okay. Thank you for that. So now let me move on to today's chapter. Right, okay. So today we are starting, today we start chapter number 1. The title is Becoming Assertive or Forceful. Right? So sometimes some of you all may heard this assertiveness, being assertive, right? Same time there can be some students. You all do not have any idea about becoming assertive. What is the meaning of this assertive, being assertive, right? No problem, we'll discuss today, right? So you can see the first chapter also becoming assertive or forceful. It's not a direct skill or a characteristic. So when it comes to the leadership, we have certain basic things in our mind. So if we consider communication skill, right? Then decision making, analytics, right? Analytical thinking, critical thinking, problem solving. Those are some common abilities or the skills that come to our mind when we're discussing about leadership. But this is something new, right? New in the sense not new to the leadership, but this is not a common ability, right? So we'll discuss it. Basically, here we are discussing about assertiveness, right? Still, I have not explained any single thing related to assertiveness. Don't worry, right? So basically, we are discussing here about assertiveness. So when I'm explaining, you all can understand what is this assertiveness. Okay? The thing is that the module is leader skills and leadership and innovation. So I cannot directly enter to this chapter, right? Becoming assertive or the forceful. We have to first clear the basic things related to leadership, right? We should know what is leadership, right? You all have learned, right, in different modules. Even in management also, but there's a separate chapter for the leadership. You all have learned certain areas. I will quickly refresh them, right? So then we can come to discuss this becoming assertive or the forceful, right? First, we will see what is leadership. What is meant by these leadership skills? What are the leadership skills? What are the characteristics that we expect from a successful leader? What are the leadership theories available to understand about this leadership? Right? Those things must be learned. Then we'll have to discuss this becoming assertive or the forceful. Right? Okay. Let me take you to the first chapter, first slide. Okay. Most of you are now working, right? So in your work organizations, you all have met different leaders, right? They are the corporate sector. So if we consider your organizations based on the organizational structure, based on the organizational hierarchy, you all know who are the leaders today, right? So they are the ones who lead the organization. So if we consider the society, right? Different communities, right? There are certain leaders with it, not formal leaders. Sometimes informal leaders also there. They don't have positions. They don't have a designation or a basically position called leader, right? But they lead the communities, right? Then if we consider this political context, right? If we consider Sri Lankan political context, right? Even if we consider this international political context, right? We can find different leaders in the y'all have the experience with different leaders, right? Sometimes y'all also work as or perform as leaders. Y'all are performing, right? So when it comes to the school ages also, like in school also, sometimes y'all may perform as prefects, right? Even some presidents, secretaries in associations, different clubs, right? Yes. Even now, all can be like sometimes you all are like performing as presidents, secretaries in different associations, right? Okay. Then this leadership or the term leader is not an unfamiliar term to you, right? It's a very familiar term. And from like if we consider the society, but they always like everyone try to become a leader, right? Due to some personal objectives, right? Due to some personal preferences. So they may like have a kind of an idea. No, I don't want to become a leader, right? So I will like be a very neutral person in different communities. It's their personal preference, but if we consider some individuals, right? So they have a target, they have an objective to be a successful leader in different communities or in organizations. If I ask from you also today, probably you all will like if I ask from you regarding your ambitions, right? Regarding your objectives, you all will definitely like come up with answers like you want to be a CEO, right? In a well-established organization in Sri Lanka or in another country, right? Sometimes you all may tell you want to become one of the CFOs, right? So in that way, you all will tell different objectives that you all have. Those objectives are also related to leadership. Then if you have a dream, right? If you have a vision, okay, to become a successful leader, then you should know how to become a successful leader in the how I can reach that particular level, right? So spontaneously, or certainly you cannot become a CEO of a company if you do not have a family business, right? So if you are going through the organizational hierarchy, right? So then like we have to step into the very basic level. Then gradually we need to reach the highest positions with it, right? So then when we are like stepping in this professional career ladder, right? We should know to convert our personality into a leadership person, right? Leading role. Okay, so if we consider these all 6 chapters of this module, support you to be a successful leader, to become a successful leader, right? So if we consider this assertiveness also one of the required characteristics for a successful. If you have a dream to become a successful leader, especially in these current organizations, you know this current business environment is so competitive, right? So everything based on the performances, right? So then this so-called assertiveness is so important for you, right? Believe me. So then here, what I want to explain, if we consider these different examples that we can find in organizations there are leaders. When it comes to our personal lives also, in our home also we can find a leader, right? We can full family lead right? And they provide, like they show us the direction, right? So if we consider friendships or the networking also, there can be some leaders, right? So yes, so when it comes to your intakes also, there can be some leaders, right? So not formal leaders, like informal, they like lead the whole intake, right? හැමදේම coordinate කරගෙන support කරගෙන අදගෙන යන දරුවෙක් right intake එක. So then yes, but like when it comes to political context also we can find different leaders there. So then you have the experience, you know who are leaders, then how you can what is the definition that you have for a leader? Who is a leader? So there are certain common characteristics that we can find from any type of a leader. Right? Here today, we when it comes to the common examples, right? When it comes to some names, leaders' names, we have a positive perception regarding them. Right? Same time, there are some names of leaders, right? We have a kind of negative perception regarding them, but still they are also leaders. If we consider Hitler, right? A leader for them, right? We have to accept it, right? He was a leader, right? But if I do a kind of survey, right, I will find, right, some people perceive him in a negative manner, right? They may have a negative perception regarding that particular person. But still, he also a leader, right? Then, who is a leader? Take 1 to 2 minutes and just think about bosses in your organizations, your reporting lines, and think about them. The thing is, y'all may argue, can we consider all managers as leaders? Right? So we are learning because there are like certain differences also between managers and the leaders, right? We cannot consider all managers as leaders, right? So that is there. But if we consider the organizational structure for the technically and formally, we have to act. If he or she is a manager, then he or she is a leader of that company, right? We have to accept it, right? So technically, yes, he is a leader for them, right? So I can explain this once I define who is a leader. මම explain කරන්න මට ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ ගන්න ඕනේ characteristic එකක් දෙන්න, right? So in that case, just take 1 minute and 1 minute or 2 minutes and think who is a leader. And if you comfortable with the answer, just type it and send it to me through chat box. Because if I ask you to unmute your mic and explain the answer, then you don't do it, right? If you are willing to explain it through opening the mic, warmly welcome it with it. So I'm also expecting, but at least, right? If you are not willing to unmute your mic and share the answer, type it and send it to me through chat box. Definition එක දෙන්න බලන්න leader කෙනෙක්ට. Don't give me very what do you call this? I'm not expecting here very technically corrected definitions, okay, right? Practically think and tell me who is a leader. Very simply tell me who is a leader.
Leader is a person who guides and motivate and help others
Very good.
work
Group of
towards
like,
or
to achieve a goal. Yes, okay, very good. So interesting, like you have here highlighted a person who guides, right? Right? If we consider an organization, right? There are like different managers. You all have sometimes your labor, some managers they are really good, right? You all have labor, some managers as they are not that much good. You don't have a positive perception regarding it, right? But still you all have to work under them because you all have to work under their supervision, right? Still for them, even though you don't have a positive perception regarding them, right? They are providing you the direction to right? So they show you the direction. If effective that can be a question now, right? But still they like give you the direction, they tell you what to do, right? Guides. And if he or she is a great leader with it, like they provide you the clear direction, right? So they always support you as he correctly explains with it. Leader is a person who providing the guidance, who guides, then motivates, right? Support. With support, it's very important, right? Very good with it. Yes. Can I find another definition or a kind of explanation for leader with it? So from his definition or the explanation with it, I really like the terms guiding, right? The guides. Then this what you call motivate, right? And support. Yes, and then like if we practically also analyze with it, that is true, right? Okay, so yes, when I'm parent practically online here, like only few students will speak, others don't, right? Okay, so that's why when you're like speaking, when you're like coming up with different explanations, right? We can have discussions with it. But unfortunately, here we cannot, right? Okay, that's fine. So let me give you a definition for leader for this. Just validate my definition. And other thing for this. Now you're like the DNA, right? You all have to have a good cognitive ability, right? So you all need to have this critical thinking up to a good level to it, right? So because if you have good critical thinking, then it's easy to perform in organizations also with it, right? So in an interview, right? Especially when you are working as an employee in the company, if you have this critical thinking, right? It will be a great support for you. It would be a great support for you, right? Because when they like, now don't accept when someone is saying something, right? You don't need to accept it for the right. You can critically analyze. Why they cannot think like this? She has mentioned like this, but I guess it should be like this. Right? Don't need to have that critical thinking. But when you have the critical thinking, you are questioning it, right? You are questioning, right? So when you are questioning, you can like get the awareness. You can learn lots of things. Question so you will like open up your mind and you will be a like very open-minded person and you like critically analyze those things with it. When it comes to the society also with it, there are like certain social constructions saying, hey, we can accept that and critically think whether it's correct. We need to follow this, right? So I'm not here like discussing about rules and regulations, right? There are norms, right? And the content like you all need to critically analyze with it. Okay? Critical thinking කියන එක තියාගන්න. මම දෙයක් කියද්දී උනත් yes I'm the lecturer. එහෙමයි කියන පුතේ දෙම හරියන්න ඕනි කියන කතාවක් නෑ. Right? You all can critically think and you can argue. I really like arguments, right? So when you are like saying, can't we think like this? Right? I really like it. Okay, so then we can have very insightful discussions. Okay. Here also same with it when I'm giving you definitions, when I'm giving you explanations, right? If you cannot agree with me, just tell me, right? So then we can discuss, right? Okay. Just see whether I'm telling a kind of a I'm giving you a very, kind of a valid definition for leader, right? So we can say for that, leader is the person who is showing the direction and influencing. This term is very important in leadership, right? The leader is the person who is providing the direction and influencing others. Others in the sense with the followers, right? Influencing others or the followers to achieve a goal, right? Very short, right? Very short explanation. But there we can like summarize the basic things related to leadership, right? But I have mentioned, leader is the person who is providing the direction, guidance, and influencing others or the followers to achieve a goal. Now, critically think with it. If we consider any type of a leader, right? He or she can be a political leader. He or she can be a corporate sector leader, right? In order to be a leader, in order to become a leader, definitely they should have this thing called influential power. කෙනෙක්ව influence කරන්න බැරි නම් පුතේ it's really difficult to become a successful leader, right? You know, like if we consider power, right? So in order to influence someone, we need to have a power, right? Sometimes that power comes from the position, authority. Organization එකේ යාට තියෙන position එක මත power එක, right? Sometimes based on his or her knowledge. It is similar to the hierarchy, like he or she is in a very ground level or a basic level, right? But still, that person influences others long, right? Why? That particular person has the experience and the knowledge, expertise, right? So yes, So then, what else? So if he or she has the power to punish someone with it, is also one source of influencing people. Can it influence the point? Right? In that way, there are several sources of power. In order to be a leader, but in order to become a leader, we should have the influential power. Right? If we consider political context, if we consider corporate context, if we consider community, right? In order to become a leader, we need to have the influential power. Influence. So now this is a high time today. If you feel that you are bad at influencing others, right? Right? It's a very high time to convert that quality within. Right? See what is the weakness, right? Whether I don't have the required knowledge, whether I don't have the power or the authority. So try to figure out the reason for that particular weakness and convert it into a strength within. Right? What is the influential power limited? So now it's the high time to enhance it, right? So now you are acquiring these qualifications, you are gaining qualifications through this education. So yes, meantime, read the different articles, right? Get aware about the things happening in the society, right? In the world, general knowledge side, right? Then improve your other abilities also with the communication skill, right? So if you have certain abilities with it, right? If you are strong or if you are a strong person with set of abilities, right? Definitely it will be a kind of a support for you to become an influential person, right? So you can write down today's chapter, right? Chapter name is becoming assertive or forceful. Chapter number 1. Under that, you can have a subtopic leader. Right? A subtopic leader. So here also I have included some examples for leaders, right? In Sri Lanka as well as in global context, right? So if you have time for it, just go through these individual. There are some articles, some short YouTube videos related to these personalities. Then, if you have a time, just watch them for them, just read them, right? Then you can learn something with it. You can take something to your life. When you come, this is not practical, right? It's our personal preferences. So, good out formal when that's there. So, but if you are allocating 1 hour or 2 hours for the unwanted things for them, just allocate 5 minutes to learn something for them, right? These are interesting also when you are going through stories, right? It is interesting also for them. But yes, we are reading a story, but at the end of the day, we can learn something. And so if you have some time, just go through these personalities, right? Then you can learn something. Right. Then another subtopic of leader, write down this. Leader is the person. Leader is the person who is providing direction, and influencing and influencing syllabus. Syllabus in the sense subordinates others here, right? Influencing syllabus to achieve a shared goal. Leader is the person who is providing the direction and influencing syllabus to achieve a shared goal. Right? Then for there, the same thing we can convert into see what is leadership. Right? Leadership is a process today. Always keep it in your mind. If we consider this leadership, it's a social process today. Right? When you are working as a leader, you have to interact with different stakeholders, right? Different people, right? So the leadership is a social process today, right? The සමාජයේ මිනිස්සුත් එක්කම ගැටි කරන්න දෙන දෙයක්, right? It's a social process. We have to like interact with people. Okay, it's a process, but it's not just one task, right? It's a process. It includes different functions, different tasks, right? So leadership is, you can directly convert the definition that I have given for leader to the leadership. So you can say leadership, you don't need to write down it today. Leadership is the process of providing direction and influencing others to achieve a shared goal. Leader can convert a process to take the leadership, the meaning of leadership. Right? So yes, we can say leadership is the process of influencing followers and guiding others to achieve a shared goal. Right? Okay. So I have a small question today. I will explain some few areas, then I will give you the break. Right? I will give you the break around 9:30. There's something called leadership skill, right? What is meant by leadership skill? So, what are the common skills that we consider as leadership skills? So, like when we are learning today, we learn something called leadership skills, right? Always keep it in your mind. Leadership skill is not one skill today. It's not one skill. Leadership skill like a skill like a minute, right? It's a combination of different skills. Right? It's a combination of different skills. It's not one skill. Leadership skill is a combination of different skills. So now, I'm not going to ask you to type the answer and send it to me through chat box, right? Take 1 minute or 2 minutes and think what are the common skills that we expect from a leader, right? What we can name as leadership skills. Leadership skill or keep it in your mind. It's not one skill, it's a combination of different skills or the different abilities. Right? Then what are the leadership skills then? Take 1 minute or 2 minutes and think with it, what are the common skills or the abilities that we expect from a successful leader? Please I'm giving you the time to think within that case, like at least take a pencil and write down them in your book. But with the examination, I don't ask what are the leadership skills, right? Even I don't ask what is leadership and who is a leader, don't put it, right? But when you are like providing some answers, you all can include these things with it. Right? So if I take you to the next slide today, you can find some common leadership skills. Right? Here, one is communication. Definitely, if you want to become a successful leader, especially a corporate leader, you need to have good communication skills. It's not only speaking to them, speaking, writing, as well as listening. Right? If you want to be a successful leader, improve your writing skill, speaking skill, right? Always try to speak to the point with it. You can go to the table, so you like sometimes some people allocate for them 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but within 30 seconds, very in a smart way, we can like deliver the point. Right? Because when we are working in organizations with them, there's a huge competition. Right? Even for 1 second, there's a value to it. Right? So as business organizations, they always try to like maximize profit. Okay, so if we consider single second, it has a value. So if we can explain something within 30 seconds without taking 2 minutes with it, so we are like from one end with it, like we are like adding more value with it. Right? It can be done to it was a bit like 30 seconds and we can concentrate on our own work with it. Right? So that's why this is so important, communication. Then we need to have confidence, self-confidence, right? We need to have the ability to believe our abilities with it. The abilities can be self-confidence, right? Then you need to have good abilities in relation to creativity, right? And innovation, as well as that means that you need to have good, what you call these, ideation skills, right? So we'll discuss them later on. So then you need to have good skills related to change management. This business environment is rapidly changing. It's so dynamic. Then we should know like how to manage it. Change management is another one of the required ability in current leadership roles. Then team building or the team working, then the ability related to planning, then people management, strategic thinking, work delegation, adaptability, negotiation and conflict resolution, then technology capability, emotional intelligence. This emotional intelligence also put in another important area, right? So we'll discuss them also later on. So in assertiveness, we are discussing this emotional intelligence, right? Then self-awareness. So we should know our own, we should have an ability to understand our own strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and the threats, right? Then the learning agility. Always we need to keep learning, right? We need to continuously learn with it. So yes, that's a small thing. I will show you the next slide also with it. In the next slide also we can find some skills required to become a leader. This is according to Warren Binet, right? So if you want to become a leader, right, you need to have a vision with it. Leader possess vision. You need to have a vision. Now, whenever targets when you have targets, then you provide your commitment with it. You commit on that, right? When you don't have a target, when you don't have a dream, right? Then that's really direction, but you don't know like where you have to go. But when you have a vision, when you have a dream, when you have a target with it, you know where you have to go. Then you can like develop your own strategies to go on that particular track, right? Then as a leader with it, we have to be accountable, right? Responsible plus accountable, right? Then passionate, right? ඒක අර අයිගෙන් වෙන්න ඕන පුතේ මැනේජර් කෙනෙක් විදිහට වැඩ කරනකොට ඒක අර අයිගෙන්ම එයාගේ එන්න ඕනේ එයාගේ ලීඩර්ෂිප් එක right passion එකක් තියෙනවනේ කරන දෙයට right so then So leaders are opportunity to both women and men. There should be no discrimination, right? Leaders are communication savvy. So the strategic thinking is so important with it, right? Leaders are empowering. They value people, right? Why this strategic thinking is so important in organization today? Something like this. Strategic so if you don't know why we should be strategic, then no point of learning to be a strategic person, right? So if we consider current business organization, right? The current business organizational context, as I previously emphasized, it's so competitive, right? It's so competitive, right? As business organizations, they do have an objective toward profit maximization. That is the ultimate objective of any business organization, right? That is their ultimate objective, right? Profit maximization. Okay. So then for that, how they can maximize profit? One option available is profit in the sales, the difference between revenue and the expense, right? Revenue and the expenses or the cost. If we want to maximize profit, one option available is we can enhance or increase the revenue or the income. Other hand, we have to reduce or decrease the cost. Even options taken. As individuals with it, right? If we don't think strategically, right, then we cannot think or we cannot come up with suggestions for the revenue increment or to increase revenue and to reduce the cost. Of the strategically, අපිට එන්නේ හරි ඒක අපිට මේක මේ විදිහට කරලා මේකේ ටයිම් එක අඩු කරලා අපිට මේක ගැන කොස්ට් එක අඩු කරගන්න බෑ right ඇයි අපිට why we can't go with this promotion right why we cannot redesign the product like this right so if they can do those things then they can increase the revenue they can attract more customers they can achieve the competitive advantages then they can perform over the competitors when they can achieve competitive advantages, so then definitely it will positively affect on profit maximization. Right? Competitive and strategically hitana, right? Okay, making a solutions suggestions support the organization to achieve competitive advantages. Right? So when the company can achieve competitive advantages, right, that means they are performing over the competitors. Right? So they definitely it will support the organization to achieve higher profits, profit maximization. Right? Strategically, in solution sector, so they can perform well with it. The organizations can perform well. They can compete over the competitors, right? Through that, they can achieve competitive advantages. That particular competitive advantages support the organization to achieve higher profit or the profit maximization, right? So, yes, that's why we should encourage the strategic thinking, right? Okay. So then with this one there, I will give you the break, right? After the break, we have certain areas to be discussed. Today, I'm not going to complete chapter number 1, right? So in the session plan also, you can see. So for this one today, I'm allocating average 2 weeks because I cannot directly enter to the assertiveness. I have to clear this background, then I can come to the assertiveness. So I'm allocating usually 2 weeks for the chapter number 1, right? So within 2 weeks, definitely, without it out, we can complete it. Then we can do the activities also. Now you can take the break with the 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes break and join to the session again. So now I will consider the time as 9:30, right? Take maximum of 15 minutes break and rejoin to the session by 9:45, right? Then we'll discuss the remaining parts And if time permits, we will do an activity also. We'll see, right? So take a break and rejoin the session by 9:45. I told you, but they will continue the session. So from your end, just drop a message to others, but they ask them to join to the session again. I will start within like 1 minute, 2 minutes, ask others to join because previously there were around 59, 60 students. So I will start the session within another 2 minutes. Yes, put it. So I have written the question, the smart board, right? Let me show you. Right? So the question is very practical question, right? Not a technical question. The question is think and figure out the most inspiring or influencing leader that you have worked so far, right? Identify කරගන්න ඔයා මේ තාක්කල් වැඩ කරලා තියෙන ඔයාගේ ජීවිතේ ඔයාව ඉන්ස්පයර් කරපු leader, right? And identify key characteristics of the inspiring person, right? That's the reason why I'm asking this question. But I will let you know I have asked this. Just think about the person today. He or she can be, here I have used the term you have worked so far. It's not compulsory like to be a corporate leader, no good day, right? So he or she can be a person that met during your school time, right? In a different situation, in an occasion, right? So it doesn't matter, right? The situation or the period, it doesn't matter today. Or the context also, it doesn't matter. Think about the most influencing, inspiring person that you have met so far, and identify some key characteristics that you personally believe. So those characteristics are really good, right? And list down them for the right. You need to do only two things. Figure out the person, right? Most inspiring or the influencing person, and identify the key characteristics. Okay, that's what you have to do. Identify key characteristics of that inspiring person. Just list down them, but then just you don't need to. If it is a confidential thing, or if you don't like to share the person's name, then no need to share it with it. So if you can share it with us, just type it to the chat box and share the answers to me to them. Then I can see what are the characteristics that you value. Right? That's what I want to check. That's what I want to know. Right? So due to some reason you really like that person, due to some of that person's characteristics, you really like that particular person. Right? You believe he is a very good leader, right? That's why you have inspired me. That's why you think. So he has influenced you, right? Try to do this. Then please share the answers through the chat box with it. Then I can see your answers. That's the reason why I'm asking. Just do this. Take 2 to 3 minutes and finish this. You don't need to write down list of characteristics. No good. Write down key characteristics, 2 or 3 characteristics that you personally value. Every characteristic should be relevant to that particular person. ඔයාගේ දකින්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන එක නෙමෙයි ඔයා ඇත්තටම යාගේ දකින්න තියෙන. That's the characteristics.
Excuse me, madam, chat box is not available.
Is it not available? Okay. Let me check with it. Thank you for informing. Let me want to list your answer. Let me see whether I can enable chat box. If I can make it able, then I will make it available for you. Because I don't think that I can make it IS. In channel meetings, only members of the team are also. And it really sorry for the inconvenience caused, but I will inform this to the technical division, right? So registration department as well as the IT department. I guess if there's something with the created link with it, link create the channel meeting, like they have created it. So really sorry for the inconvenience, right? I don't have the control, but I mean, I cannot do any changes. I don't know. I don't know whether I can do it or not. And I will inform to the relevant parties, right? Sorry for the inconvenience. Of course. Okay with it. It's a hard try, but I cannot find out the way to sort it out. So really sorry with it. So if you're willing to like share the answers through unmuting your mic, but then just share it like you don't need to mention the person. At least tell me about what are the most influential characteristics that you can find from that particular person. What are the characteristics that you really love, that you really value? So sometimes with it, you all may come up with answers like confident, right? They put self-confidence, right? Then some of you all may tell empathy, support, strategic thinking, understanding. You all sometimes may tell emotional intelligence, right? Then the knowledge, caring, right? So motivating or the mechanisms that the person uses for the motivation, right? Then situation handling, right? So in that way, you all will tell different things. Sometimes some of you all may tell the personality, right? And the way that the person communicates. In that way, you all will come up with different answers to it, right? Why I have asked you to do this activity? So really sorry, like if this chat option is available, then you all are sending some answers into it. When it comes to the physical lecture room, also when I'm asking this question to it, then you all will come up with some answers. So if you want to become a successful leader, if you want to be an inspiring person, right? If you want to influence someone today, then you need to maintain those identified characteristics in yourself also, within your life also. Right? That's why I have asked you to do today. So imagine one student may tell different three characteristics, and another student may say another three characteristics, right? Another student tells another 3 or 4 characteristics. So combined with like if we analyze those factors or the characteristics from like open perspective, right? Then we can understand. You all have inspired everything. You all have inspired from that particular person. You all have, I mean, like, you think that particular person is an inspiring person because with it, that person has some interesting characteristics, some important, some interesting abilities. That's why you inspire, right? So then, if you also want to be an inspiring person, then you have to maintain those characteristics in your life. You have to gain those characteristics and you need to maintain them, you need to develop them, right? So then it will be a support for you to become a successful and inspiring leader, right? That's why I have asked you to do that. So then today I'm taking you to the next area. There we are discussing about leadership theories, right? So still I have not shared the slides. I will show you. We'll have a discussion, then we can move on to the slides, right? Here today, now we have discussed who is a leader, what is leadership, what are the skills that we expect from a leader. Always keep it in your mind that there's a difference between skills and the characteristics, right? So there can be kind of interconnection, right? There can be an interrelationship, but with the two things, right? Skills in the sense abilities, characteristics in the sense guna, right? Qualities. So if we want to become a successful leader, we need to maintain the relevant skills, abilities, plus we need to maintain the characteristics also. If we consider empathy, right, it's a characteristic for them. It's not an ability, it's a characteristic. If we consider strategic thinking or the decision making, it's a skill, it's an ability, right? So if we want to become a successful leader, we need to think about these two aspects, characteristics and the skills. Right? Okay. Let me take you to the leadership theories today. There are different leadership theories, right? Theory in the sense, you should know what is meant by this theories. In different areas, you all are learning different theories, right? So why we learn theories? Why? What do you think today? Why we are learning theories? Why we have to learn theories? In modules, in different subjects, why we learn theories? Because today, the reason is when we are going through the theories. Imagine you want to understand about leadership. You don't know anything about leadership, right? Even you don't know who is a leader. You don't know what you have to do in order to become a successful leader. You don't have any idea, right? Then, if you go through these leadership theories developed by different individuals, authors, scholars, then you can understand, you can gain the knowledge related to leadership. You can understand, okay, according to this theory, it explains in order to become a successful leader, what are the characteristics that we have to maintain? So if I want to, that can be another theory, it explains if a person wants to become a successful leader, what are the behaviors that person should maintain, right? අපේ theory එක කියවෙනකොට මොකද අපේ knowledge එක enhance කරලා අපි තේරුම් ගන්න area එක, right? So in leadership also, in order to understand about leadership and different aspects related to leadership, so we can go through different leadership theories, but here I will highlight only 3 leadership theories, right? So now let me take you to the slide. First theory that we are going to discuss is trade theory or the trade approach. Then second one is behavioral approach. And the third one is situational or the contingency approach. I will take one by one, then I will explain them, right? So let me move on to the slides and share it with you. Already the screen is shared. Let me open the slides. Okay. So This is leadership theories. Here we discuss about leadership theories. Basically, we are going to learn 3 theories as I explained. This one is the first one, trait approach. There's no any order, right? First, second, third. So these are like basically theories, right? We are going to first learn about trait approach, right? In the trait approach, what it says today, so when we are like going through the trait approach, right, we can understand. So there are certain characteristics, traits in the sense of the characteristics, right? There are certain traits, characteristics that we have to maintain in our lives to become a successful leader. If we can maintain those characteristics in our lives, it will be a support. It supports us to become a successful leader, right? The first one is for the here you can see. Just take 1 minute and read with. Leadership is understood by identifying the personal characteristics. So in the trait approach, we focus on personal characteristics related to leaders. Personal characteristics of leaders in this approach. Traits are the distinguishing personal characteristics of a leader, such as intelligence, goodwill, honesty, self-confidence, and appearance of the person. That means appearance in the sense that it's one part of the personality. Personality is not only about the appearance, it includes also the, right? Basically, appearance also there. And the personality also there. It is assumed that only who possess these traits, characteristics, could become successful leaders. If a person wants to become a successful leader, that person should maintain those identified characteristics. Following traits are some examples for such traits. One factor that we have to maintain, one characteristic that we have to maintain in order to become a successful leader is the physical factors with the appearance. Right? There's a rationality behind that. But someone may argue, no, there are certain leaders, they don't have how could I say, you always say it's not a compulsory thing to maintain good physical factors in order to be a successful leader, right? There's another side also in your argument, just critically think, right? So there can be some individuals with their knowledge wise, they are perfect, right? So in the basic organizational hierarchy also, they are in the highest level, right? But still with it, they don't have much influential power because the others don't like to follow his or her guidelines because of their appearance. There are certain issues when it comes to the grooming. Right? Grooming is very important thing for a leader. Right? So when it comes to the grooming part, that particular person is not is not giving that much of attention for the grooming appearance. Right? අපි ගත්ත දැන් මේක ෂර්ට් එක උනත් okay නම් වෙනවා ෂර්ට් එක උඩ දැක්විලා right so it's not need to it right and when he speaks also with it so there are certain personality issues right knowledge wise perfect. But still, there can be some individuals, they don't like to follow that particular person due to these grooming issues, right? Personality issues, right? So that's why if you want to become a leader with a great influential power, you need to think about the physical factors also. And then with the practically, someone will say, no, you're perfect. About the personality, එතකොට සමහර grooming කට අඩුපාඩු ඒ නිසා සමහර මිනිස්සු යන්නේ නැහැ ඒ වගේ පුද්ගලයන්ව අනුගමනය කරන්න right those things also that we have to practically think with them because when it comes to subordinates followers or the target audience with them there are individuals with different attitudes right they also do have different personalities right So yes, then intelligence, they need to have good knowledge. Then self-confidence, sociability, right? This is so important for them. Personality-wise, there are different individuals with it. Some are introverts, right? Some are extroverts. There's another category called ambiverts also, right? So if the person is an introvert, right? Imagine again the same thing, right? Knowledge-wise, perfect, right? But in front of a crowd, that particular person is not that much comfortable to speak with it, right? Because in personality-wise, that person is an introvert, right? But when it comes to the practical context, right? Practical organizational context, if you want to be a successful leader, if you are a sociable person, then it will be a support for you to become a successful leader. And we used to take in about the networking also like increasing, it's also happening. Then when you are into a networking also, from that also, you are getting an influential power. Right? That is also important in the leadership. Right? The characteristic for that. සමාජයේ මිනිසුන්ට ඉන්න try එකක් දෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? From when it comes to some individuals, the personality wise, they are so perfect with this sociability. If the person is an extrovert person, so speak with everyone, right? So comfortable with speaking in front of a crowd, right? So that is there. Then willpower. You know the meaning of willpower, so always we need to believe if when you are doing something good, we are thinking that okay, the good results we can gain good results from that, right? So I can do it, right? So anyhow I can manage this willpower, right? If I do like this, I can gain this. I will do this. I can. Right? Willpower. Then dominance. Dominance also important for a leader. The last one, certainty. Within brackets, I have mentioned the meaning because the term certainty is not that much familiar term. So, talkative, cheerfulness, geniality, and enthusiasm. Let me explain this with you. You all may think, is it so like, in order to become a successful leader, do we need to be a talkative person and cheerleaders? That's the reason to it. It's not like talkative in the sense, not an inappropriate manner, right? So up to some level, the person should be a talkative person today. You get the personality, right? Then others cannot understand the person, right? So if the person is not expressing emotions, right? Their thoughts, then it will be hard to understand them. So then as subordinates, let me get an example and explain this. Imagine whether there's a leader, right? One of the department heads, right? So personality-wise, with a really not personality-wise, as a person, very good person, right? Very good person, but with they not that much talkative. And then HOD can put it down, right? Not that much talkative. Sometimes some employees or subordinates also feel that the person is not recognized, and the leader is not recognized in their effort, right? Because he or she not speaks with his subordinate is very commitment and he or she has a positive perception, right? He or she appreciates, but not expressing it. Right? Then others cannot understand it. The subordinates cannot understand the leader's ideas, the leader's thoughts. If he expresses only, others can understand. Right? So when like someone is performing, like as a leader, like that person should recognize it, appreciate it, cheer them, right? Good job. Keep it up, right? In that way, like they have to be motivated, right? Cheerfulness, right? As well as for the marriage. Up to some level should be like talkative. Right? So that is also required. So Do like this, so then write down the subtopic, leadership theories. A subtopic, leadership theories. Write down the subtopic, leadership theories. Then write down first one. No, you do like this. I will give a small note for this, right? Then you all also can draw this, right? And categorize this into three. First one is straight approach. Then I will give brief explanations under each of these approaches. First one is trait approach, then behavioral approach, and the situational approach. So I will give a small note for situational approach. Sorry, for the trait approach. Write down this bullet. This is for the trade. When you are writing, keep the space to write down explanations of behavioral approach and the situational approach also bullet. Because in this open board, I have a limited space in it. So then when it comes to the behavioral approach, I will erase the explanation that I have given for trait approach. So when you are writing these three areas, just keep the space and write. Right on this, then I will come to discuss about the behavioral approach. Right, okay. Shall I erase this? Okay. Hope all of you have written it. Then I can move on to behavioral approach, right? Okay. I just keep this, but I have to move on to the slide, right? Okay. So here we are like coming into the next theory, that is behavioral approach. So here we discuss about different behaviors related to leaders, right? Practically think this, okay? So I will come to this task orientation, people orientation after explaining this. In your work organizations also, there can be some leaders. They always think about their subordinates, right? They listen to their subordinates when the subordinates are telling something, actively listening to them, right? And try to fulfill the subordinate requirements. If they are fair things, then they are trying to fulfill them, right? Always think about their people, their subordinates, right? Take care of their subordinates. So that particular behavior, that means that they prioritize their subordinate requirements over the other targets, like work-related things, right? That particular behavior we can name as people-oriented behavior. Minissu ගැන අපි හිතන්නේ වැඩ ගැන නෙමෙයි, right? වැඩ ගැන හිතනවා but prioritizing the people requirements, subordinate requirements, right? One thing. Then there's another part also. So if we consider some leaders, right, in the same organization, you often find these different behaviors, right? There can be some leaders, they prioritize work with it, deadlines, schedule, targets, right? Always push their subordinates to achieve targets. They don't think that much of the requirements of the subordinates, right? Always prioritize the task or the work. So that means that they are showing a task-oriented leadership, task-oriented behavior. Right? They prioritize the task, not the requirements of the subordinates, not about the people. Right? So then, when we like generally analyzing leaders' behaviors, we can find two main behavioral types. One is people-oriented leaders, right? Another one is task-oriented leaders. So here also you can see according to the Ohio, right? You don't pronounce it as Ohio, right? Ohio, one of the states in USA. Ohio State University study. we can find two behavioral types of leaders. One is task orientation and the other one is people orientation, right? So you can see in the task orientation, task-oriented leaders direct, subordinate work activities towards goal attainment through instructions, spending time on planning, emphasizing on deadlines, and providing explicit schedules for work activities. So always it's about works, activities, tasks, deadlines. People orientation. This approach emphasizes on employee well-being and satisfaction over task achievement, prioritizing the well-being of the subordinates. Right? Okay. Then there's another study with it. So I have not included it. Michigan study also there, but I have not included it. So this knowledge is sufficient for you. Let me give a small note for this also. So I will erase the explanation that I have given for trait approach. This is for behavioral approach. Focuses on behaviors. You can write down this today. I will give the explanation of task orientation once you finish writing this, because I have to erase this with it. Basically, behavioral approach focuses on behaviors of leaders. we can find two main behavioral types. One is people orientation and other one is task orientation. In people orientation, leaders prioritize the well-being of their subordinates or the requirements of the subordinates. In task orientation, leaders prioritize tasks, deadlines, production schedules. Right? First write down this, then I will give a small note for the task orientation also. So I will erase this, but then I will write down the explanation for task orientation, second one. This is the second one. Write down this, but then prioritize tasks, production schedules, deadlines. That is for the task orientation. Another behavioral type of leaders as people orientation. Prioritizing the tasks, activities, different targets, production schedules. Right, okay. So let me take you to the last approach, right? So We can manage the time, but I know I have to take attendance also, but let me like finish the content related to situational approach also. Then I will move on to take attendance, right? Okay, so let me start from the open board. Here, you can see the last one is contingency approach or the situational theory. When it comes to organizations today, there are different situations, right? There are different contexts, right? As leaders, they have to adapt to the situation and they need to customize the leadership strategies, right? Based on the situation, they have to change their leadership styles, right? For an example, in a kind of one situation today, one of the leaders may use a one particular way to handle the situation. But today, he cannot use the same strategy to handle another situation. Right? So for the situation, for the contingent, basically for the context, right? Leaders have to adapt to it, right? Based on the situation, they have to change their leadership style. So in situational theory, right, we focuses on how leaders should change their leadership styles based on the situation. The thing is here, the situation in the sense, not the environmental factors, but the situation in the sense, the situation of the subordinates, the development level of the subordinates. Here we consider situation as the development level of subordinates, right? So here, let me take you to the exhibit, then you all can understand what I'm telling, right? Okay. Here put it, give your attention to the bottom of the slide. There's something called D1, D2, D3, D4. Okay. D1 in the sense development level 1. D2 in the sense development level 2, development level 3, development level 4. If we consider organizational context, there are different subordinates for them. Their development levels are also different from one to another person, right? There are some individuals for them, they don't have the ability to perform the task. Skills-wise also, they are not that much developed. Their willingness or the readiness, basically willingness to do the task also really less, really lack. Right? Both are ability also lack, willingness also lack. Right? So those employees we consider they are in the development level 1. Right? Both are less, but they both are lack. Then if we consider development level 2, still put their abilities, right? Another situation, another subordinate situation, leaders have to handle, right? So in development level 2 subordinates, their abilities, their skills also still very low for them, right? But their willingness is high. They like to start different things and continue, but their ability is not that much strong for them, right? Development level 2. Then development level 3 employees in the sense, their ability is high with it. They know what to do, how to do, skills are very good. But the willingness is really low. Right? අවබෝධය හැකියාව ඔක්කොම හොඳට තියෙනවා. Development level 3 එකේ employees ට හැබැයි ඒගොල්ලෝගේ willingness එක අඩුයි. The development level 4 in the sense, both are high with it. Their ability also high. Their skills also up to the required level and their willingness also, right? They like to start different things, they take initiatives and they continue. Their willingness also put it high. Right? Now, as leaders put it, based on these development levels, they have to change their leadership styles. Imagine put it, there's a leader, and under that particular corporate leader supervision, he has to supervise 5 subordinates. 2 subordinates are in development level 1 and other 3 are in D2, D3, and D4 accordingly. Right? So they are into 4 development levels. Then as a leader, that particular person cannot apply the same leadership style for all these 4 development levels employees. Right? So the leader has to change his leadership style according to the development levels of subordinates. If the subordinates are in development level 1, leader has to apply directing leadership style. Directing in the sense that the leader has to say step by step. Like the leader has to show step by step direction for them. අදියෙන් අදිය මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕනේ කියන එක. කියන්නේ ඊළඟට මොකද්ද කරන්න. ඊට පස්සේ ආයෙ මොකද්ද කරන්න. හැමදේම they have to explain to the subordinates. Right? Because they are development wise with it, they are into a very lower level. Then imagine. So the leader has to lead employees who are into development level 2. They have the willingness because they don't have the ability, but they have the willingness. So then as a leader put it, leader can coach them. Coach can practically think about a coach of sport team with them. The coach supports the members or the individuals to develop their skills. Right? So then leader has to apply coaching style. Then imagine whether the leader has some employees who are in the development level 3, then leader has to support them with a supporting style. Because ability, yes, they have. Willingness only they don't have. So therefore, they as leaders, they have to motivate their subordinates because they okay with their abilities, but they are not willing to start the thing and continue, right? Then as leaders, they have to support their subordinates to willingly do the things. To like make them, not to make them, like to take, they have to encourage their subordinates to take initiatives and continue. For that, leaders can use different supporting mechanisms. They can use some motivational mechanisms, right? Okay. Then the last one is development level 4. That means the subordinates are really developed, right? Then, as a leader can delegate the task to those subordinates because the leader can rely on the performance of those employees. They have the ability, they have the willingness, then they are okay to put this. So then, as a leader, he or she can delegate the task to them and they can monitor their performances. So then, if they have subordinates into development level 4, as leaders, they can apply delegating leadership style. Right? Based on different situations of the subordinates, situations in the sense of different development levels, leaders can change their leadership styles. Right? If they can do so, they can expect high level of productivity. Okay? Right. So now time is, I guess, 10:49 today. We have more. We'll discuss them up to this point. Now I have completed the leadership theories, done with it. Right? So then I have to start with this charismatic transformation leadership. So these are very easy to understand areas today. I will explain them next week. And then we can move on to see the assertiveness, right? Okay. So for the main situational approach, would they write down this small explanation in the, in the summary? You have categorized leadership theories into 3: trait approach, behavioral approach, and situational approach. For situational approach, would they put a slash mark and mention contingency approach, situational approach කියලා ලියපු දැන slash එකක් දාලා contingency approach කියලා ලියන්න. Then under that, write down this potential. According to this approach, According to this approach, make a for the situational or the contingency approach, I'm giving the note. According to this theory, leaders have to change their leadership styles based on the situations of within brackets write down development levels. Situations of within brackets write down development levels. Close the bracket. Based on the situations of within brackets development levels. Situations of subordinates. Then write down, under that they write down. First one. The explanation again. So I'm giving you what are the appropriate leadership styles for the for the subordinates who are in different development levels. Right? The first one. If the subordinates are subordinates, sorry, but they don't write down if the subordinates are, just write down if the subordinates have the ability and willingness. Within brackets, write down to the development level 4. If the subordinates have ability, skills, and willingness, within brackets, development level 4. B4. Close the bracket. Put a small arrow. Leader can apply delegating style. Delegating style. Then write down second one. If subordinates have ability, but no willingness or less willingness. If subordinates have ability but no willingness, the small arrow, leaders can apply supporting style. Then write down third one. If subordinates do not have ability, if subordinates do not have abilities, comma, but have willingness, but have willingness. Put a small arrow. Leaders can apply. Leaders can apply. Leaders can apply. Coaching style. Coach करा. Coaching style. Then write down last one, fourth one. If subordinates, 80 put like when you are writing first, second, third. For the first one, you have written development level 4. For the second one, development level 3. For the third one, subordinates do not have ability but have willingness. Development level 2, within brackets, write down development level also. Then the fourth one, write down if subordinates do not have ability and willingness. They don't have both. Willingness. Within brackets, write down development level 1. Close the bracket. Put a small arrow. Leaders can apply. Leaders can apply. Directing style. Directing. D-I-R-E-C-T-I-N-G. Directing style. Right? Okay, Bhude. So now with that, Bhude, we can wind up the content related to today's session, right? The remaining part of chapter 1, without any doubt, we can complete within next week. So then, after completing this chapter, we can move on to chapter number 2, right? So far for that, if you want to, like we have discussed certain areas, if you want to clarify anything, just ask from me. Meantime, I will show you the QR code. You all can scan the QR code for the attendance. While you're attending, while you're marking attendance, if you want to clarify anything regarding today's session today, just ask from me. Then I will provide you the clarifications, right? Let me show you the QR code. Yes. Now you all can scan the QR code. Okay, but I hope all of you have marked the attendance. Is there any issue in terms of marking attendance? After the session, don't send me emails, right? Mentioning you could mark the attendance and all, right? If you want to mark the attendance, if you couldn't mark the attendance with it, just inform me, then from my end I can mark it. If not, I consider that all of you have marked the attendance, right? Is there any issue with marking attendance today? No, right?
Can't mark the attendance.
Yes, but you are from which institute?
Madam,
Yes.
yes, I
Nusha.
have QR code issue.
All right, okay.
Madam,
So
I
now
can't
you have,
mark the QR code because
right, okay. Now you have informed me with it. Now I know. Yeah, Roshan and send me an email with them mentioning. Due to this reason, you couldn't mark the attendance, right? Then I will forward it to the registration department with it. Then they will mark the attendance. No problem. Now you have informed me. I know, like if they are in the lecture, so from my end also I can confirm it. So just send me an email. Then I will forward it to the registration department. Then they will take the necessary actions with it.
okay, madam.
Right?
Thank
Okay.
you, madam.
Okay. So then with this, we can wind up the session for today. If you want to clarify anything, right? Before winding up, I will give you 1 minute today, you can ask for me. So anyhow, now you all are leaving, right? So there's no point of like asking questions in it. Like, okay, I assume like you don't have any question. Just tell me whether you all understood the thing that I have explained today. Yes or no?
No, miss.
So in the sense, no issue that like you couldn't understand
No
anything.
issues.
No issues.
Everything clearly.
All right, okay. So right, okay, for that. Then thank you for the confirmation. So with this, we'll wind up the session for today. Next Sunday, not next Sunday, 10th, we'll again meet. We'll meet on 10th. Till that, stay safe and see you all next session today. Stay safe. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, madam.